Srixon have just released their most supreme forgiving iron ever. It's the ZXi-R HL. We've done some testing in the studio. We've actually got some numbers from the ZXi-R as well, so a little bit of a comparison. And we also tested the ZXi-7 alongside, and I can assure you there'll be no other reviews with that data. And providing that data gave us so much feedback for you today. So if you're in the market for a game improvement iron, you need to watch this video. Let's get stuck in. So if we just start by having a bit of a look at the profile of the club, if we look at the soles to start with, they're an extremely wide sole, aren't they, Dan?
Nice and forgiving.
They look really forgiving. I would say the 5 iron's just a fraction wider than the pitching wedge, so it probably just progressively gets wider towards the longer irons. From the top, if we put them down, they've got quite a thick, chunky top line. I mean, offset wise, you can see there's quite a little bit of offset on there, so it's going to help you square that club face, potentially play a draw. So yeah, let's get stuck in. So we got comparison data with 8 iron and pitching wedge. We didn't in the long irons because they've sent us a 5 iron in the HL and a 6 iron in the ZXi-R. So we're just going to hit a couple of tee shots to this 5 iron, and I've got the launch monitor just to have a look at the numbers. I mean, I typically hit my 5 iron about 183, which I'm using a cavity backed iron. It looked pretty good. Is that a bit of a draw?
Not much, pretty straight.
So we've got 190 yards carry.
Oh, lovely.
That was pure, that one.
Yeah.
201. That's monstrous, isn't it? To be honest, where I've hit them,
I tell you what, mate, they're the 3 best shots I've seen yet, and I don't know how long.
it makes you wonder, doesn't it, why we bother using sort of smaller headed clubs. So I think one of the best features of this iron and the ZXi-R is this eye alloy material that they've, you know, is unique to Srixon, because most products in this category use like a common sort of steel that's kind of feels a bit harsh, doesn't it? Yeah. You know, obviously, like you get a bit more of a hollow feel. We tested these alongside the ZXi-7. I had to hit 2 or 3 shots to make this conclusion, because if I try the ZXi-7, which is a forged club, against most sort of mid-size and full cavity irons, I'm like, wow, these are soft.
Yeah. I
can't feel a great deal of difference, which is scary.
It's also, yeah, I mean, it's not very good for me who's got forged clubs.
I think it's credit though that they're trying to get that toe performance feel in the cavities. So we're just doing a bit of a head-to-head comparing the difference between the ZXi-R HL and the ZXi-R standard. We're just comparing pitching wedge and 8 iron. Now, I've already hit a couple of shots with these, and I'm so surprised. I've had to just double check that these are not forged because they're so soft. The feel.
Is this the R?
Fantastic. This is the HL, which is their super forgiving club. Obviously for more like, well, I think it'll suit the slower swinging golfer because there's a bit more loft on there to help you launch it. But usually, the irons in this category are jacked up for distance, and then your kind of slower swinging golfer just doesn't get the launch, doesn't get the carry. Yeah. So I think it's a masterclass from Srixon that in the game improvement category, they've got 2 offerings. They've got the offering for the bit more powerful golfer who's, you know, needs maximum forgiveness, but also the offering for the more sort of softer swinging player who needs that bit more launch. Right, a bit free with that one. So I'm going to jump across now to the ZXi-R. Now that's going a lot further, hasn't it? I might have to move that green. I mean, I'm a golfer that doesn't use much offset, so I'm getting a bit of right to left shape on these, which I think for most people shopping in this category, it'll be exciting, because I think when I was a handicapper, you always want to get that draw, don't you?
Still do.
It helps you just square face having that offset, and I think when you do that, you get a bit more sort of better interaction with ball.
certainly sound nice.
They're flying miles, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a strong ball flight.
They feel great. I mean, you'd never think you've got a cavity in your hand. The only thing that makes me think I've got a cavity in it, and for me, is that I'm turning it a bit right to left.
Yeah.
Obviously not the right profile iron for me, but in terms of the feel of it, I could have had I won't say ZXi-5 because I've not actually tested one, but it's certainly a more advanced iron.
Yeah.
I don't think if you shopped in the game improvement category in another brand, you get that feel. I think you get a bit of a hollow feel, a bit more clicky. I'm not getting any of that.
Yeah. And they are usually just power bats at good miles. But
Yeah.
Doesn't seem that way then.
Now, we hadn't been advised to do this, but Dan, being a golf geek, wanted to see what these irons perform like compared to his gamers. He's got the ZXi-7. It's a bit of a split set, isn't it?
Yeah, 5 and 7 combo.
5 and 7 combo, but it'd be interesting. I think going straight from them to this, what is the actual difference? Can I tell much difference in the feel? Can we see much difference in numbers? You know, feel-wise, they're not a million miles apart.
I don't want to hear that.
I mean, when we test them outside, I wonder if it'll be different. You know, like when you test them off grass. Yeah, and it took me like 2 or 3 shots to actually commit to saying that, because I know when I've tested, you know, Srixon before, the forge just feels fantastic, especially the 7. The 7 feels so soft, and I were expecting to feel a big difference.
Yeah.
And scarily, I haven't. But I think that's compliments to Srixon, you know, for trying to match the game improvement irons with the sort of more tour performing clubs in terms of feel. And I just can't believe I'm saying that, but they must have worked so much on the sound. It's maybe more the sound that's giving me that perception in, you know, ZXi-Rs, that they're soft. But yeah, it's weird, because if I'd have compared that, let's say, with a cast iron, this would feel butter soft.
Yeah.
But it's not, because obviously they must just feel really good. Right, let's have a look. So I think it's fair to say you'll see how surprised I were when I went from comparing these supreme forgiving irons into the ZXi-7, and yeah, didn't feel a great deal of difference, which I think is incredible for anybody shopping in this forgiving market, to think that you're going to get the most forgiving iron, but the feel of a performance iron, you know, or as close to. I think the sound really does it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did sound well.
It makes them feel like you're playing a really soft forged iron. So I'm going to hit 2 pitching wedges with a high launch, and Dan's going to talk us through the data compared to the ZXi-Rs. That's a really high launch, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a little bit short at green.
Nice shot though.
So what did we see, Dan, in terms of...
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully we saw what you'd kind of expect. So the high launch, sort of launching 3 degrees more.
Yeah.
And due to that, we got, what, 1,000 RPM more spin?
Yeah.
So kind of, yeah, it does what it says on the tin, so to
In
speak.
terms of distance, there were a bit of a difference, weren't there?
They were, yeah, we saw kind of 10 yards difference, which I guess if you're launching more and spinning more, again, you'd expect.
And that is personal to me, because I'd probably fit more into the profile of the ZXi-R, wouldn't I, rather than the high launch. But for the person that struggles to launch the ball and get the ball in the air, this could actually...
Oh, 100% it's going to help them.
It's going to help them.
Yeah.
So I think what's really nice to see is that they've extended the V-sole into the sort of full cavity irons.
Yeah, I mean, you'd expect some features to be missing, wouldn't you, being game improvement? But
that's what I thought, yeah.
But I mean, we spoke about it with mine, didn't we? I've got ZXi-5 and 7s, and the V-sole and turf interaction. One of the big positives.
You went from T200, you had?
T200, yeah.
And Dan's somebody that gets a little bit steep, sometimes takes a huge divot. And the difference, your divots went from probably that long to like that, didn't they?
Yeah, it really does help until you've actually experienced them.
Can you see that pin, Dan?
We'll do with my zooming skills.
lost it in the sun.
Nice.
Oh, it's not bad actually, but look at that divot. I mean, that's so short, isn't it? The interaction
Short
there.
and shallow and just nice.
It's obviously quite firm, the ground today. But for anybody that sort of has a heavy interaction with floor, these can be a game
Definitely
changer.
help, yeah.
Yeah. That's probably a better example. And again, look at that.
Hold on, I'm looking for the ball. Left.
Look how short that is. I mean, my miss today has been left, and I think that's just compliments to the offset, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, obviously the sort of profile of player that these are aimed at. That's
I mean, you're only 15 foot left there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously during a fitting, if you're somebody that obviously hits the ball left, but you need the forgiveness of this, I'm sure in a fitting they could sort of flatten them lies for you. So we obviously are testing them in stock lies, but yeah, that offset's definitely helping square the face. That one was pretty straight, weren't it? But I'll tell you what's impressive. I mean, them divots.
Do you know?
I've put the ball there and I've just repeatedly took the same divot. Obviously, just after the ball, every ball were in the same place.
I mean, we've always said you're not really a robot, but them 3 shots, I bet, are on top of each other.
Yeah.
Ground
absolutely.
interaction's almost identical.
Let's pull up the data then to compare what this were like compared to the ZXi-R, because I think there were quite a bit of difference when it got to 8 iron.
It was.
So if we look at these numbers across the board, comparing them to the ZXi-R, the ball speed's a little bit down, but that's because the lofts are not as jacked. So a little bit more sort of friendly lofted to help you launch that ball high, which we can see they're launching a couple of degrees more, actually nearly 3. They're actually spinning a lot more as well, so they're going to help you hold the greens. If we're looking at carry distance and total distance, there's approximately around about sort of 11 to 13 yards difference. Now, I think a lot of high handicappers could definitely sacrifice that to gain that extra control. You know, the landing angle they're going to get, the spin, the hold you're going to get. But I think what people don't appreciate is obviously someone like me testing them, you're seeing a positive performance gain, aren't you, from the ZXi-R? But that's because I swing fast. That's an iron suited to me. If you're a smoother swinger, that data there could just flip completely.
Yeah, you're not looking at that. I think other game improvement irons we've seen, low spin, low launch, no control. These have flipped that on its head, haven't they?
And as I said earlier in the video, Samu's a master fitter often can't even fit the most inconsistent golfers into full cavities because the lofts have got that strong. He can't get them launching the ball. You know, they don't, it's not even just they can't launch them, they can't strike them well. So he's having to fit them into mid-size irons just to get them launching the ball correctly and actually striking it half decent. So to have, you know, that in a...
Quite exciting to see, isn't it?
I think it's fantastic for this category. And I think, you know, Srixon obviously the first people to do it who's, you know, got 2 irons in the same category now for maximum forgiveness. So I think in terms of tech, one of the main points to mention is the main frame, where they've got a mill pattern inside to help increase MOI, to sort of enhance it by, you know, obviously being very selective about the distribution away.
Yeah, what they're saying is it amplifies ball speed, gives you a bit more forgiveness.
Right, so before we bring in the ZXi-7 numbers, we're going to hit one shot with this A time, because I really want to put a conclusion on this. Is there much difference in feel? Because if you try a ZXi-7 against any other cast iron, you'd be like, wow, they're soft.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that feeling in the studio that there were a great deal of difference. I mean, it felt good. It felt a really nice, solid interaction with floor. But I'm going to stick with what I said. I honestly can't tell a great deal of difference in feel.
And from behind camera, I'm not seeing a great difference either in ball flight or sound. It's very... blind testing, I'd be struggling to tell which is which.
I think it's a real big compliment to Srixon to be able to get that amount of forgiveness and performance out of, you know, obviously a supreme forgiving iron and get the feel of a, you know, low handicap performance club.
They're usually lacking some kind of features, you know, sound, feel, anything on game improvement, but these are kind of holding up against their own players.
I'm trying to think if there's anything they're lacking, and I'm struggling.
Yeah.
You've got feel, you've got obviously forgiveness, you've got launch, you've got the
Performance in
V-sole.
general, yeah.
I think they could
Mainframe.
be, yeah, they could be the best we've tested. So in conclusion, I think with the V-sole, with the A alloy technology in this Profiler golf club, it's probably for me, I would go as far as saying the best performing sort of
game improvement iron we've seen by a mile.
supreme game improvement iron, yeah.
I mean, off the back of this, I think there's a couple of more videos to do, definitely. I think one is comparing it to other game improvement irons.
Absolutely.
Because we haven't seen anything like it. And two, we definitely know a couple of people who I think this iron will benefit.
I think it's going to smash a lot of irons out of the park for feel in this category. I think it's going to smash them out of the park for interaction with floor in this category. Yeah. And in terms of looks, I mean, Srixon irons look fantastic, don't they?
Yeah.
They've really got the looks, you know, fantastic now. And we've been overdue this from Srixon because they've had perfectly some of the best performing irons, aren't they? ZX, you can't get a better combination of irons than Srixon, I don't think. I've said this for a long time. The ZXi, you know, 7, 5, 4.
Yep.
But now, to have these supreme forgiving irons in their armoury. Right, so let's test what the HL feels like on a sort of short pitch. We've got the pitching wedge. The V-sole kicking in there. Helping me out a little bit. Clean that face. Will we get a soft feel on sort of a shorter shot where there's not as much club speed? Yeah, I didn't think that came off fire or anything like that. It came off, you know, like, it felt soft and it felt muted as well. You know, when you get like a, I don't know how to say it, but it didn't feel quick off the face. Sometimes you'll test a cavity and it's a bit fiery.
Yeah, you definitely can't use them around green, can you?
No, for a sort of soft feely shot.
Yeah, they're pretty nice, aren't they?
Yeah, and I know we're obviously on practice ground here. As you can see, it's quite frosty, but one bounce and you could tell it were checking, it were grabbing, weren't it? Right, so we've got Dan's ZXi-7 here. I'm going to put it head to head because this is as good as you're going to get feel-wise, isn't it, from Srixon?
So, yeah.
And, well, not just Srixon, but it is one of the best feeling irons you can get to see if this feels much softer or whether it feels similar. What I would say is I didn't strike that well, as you can tell.
Yeah, I got that feeling.
It did probably feel a tad softer. Maybe that's where, you know, obviously
come into its own a bit
the
more.
performance iron comes into its own is when you get these delicate shots. On the fuller shots, I can't say I could tell any difference.
Nice. Yeah.
A bit. I mean,
I don't know if it's the club or what you're feeling, but you don't look as comfortable with
this.
Pitching,
do you know what it is?
The other one, it were really soft and smooth. This you're a bit more, and you're getting a bit jabber.
I'm not the best chipper in the world. We're playing off like a bit of a wet lie.
Yeah.
I'm thinking narrow sole. So
the HL give you a lot more confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think you can see that.
I prefer to pitch with a HL, being not as positive around green. Like, I'm a bit scared. I'm putting this away.
So to conclude, you can't use my irons.
I can't use your irons, and I'd prefer to use HLs. Let's just go back to this to finish on a good one.
It will be interesting to see.
I think that's
such a mind game, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's just get.
You get them first ones, lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're nice.
I just think it's easier to hit. I just feel a bit more, with it being wider and a bit chunkier, not as worried.
Yeah.
I think going from this to a smaller profile, it's just psychological, isn't it, when you're on a wet lie. So if you've enjoyed this video, guys, we're going to do the ZXi-R review. I think that's going to be more suited to the more powerful player, somebody that can launch the ball more naturally. Probably suited to me more, isn't it, really, in all fairness. But let's see how that performs outside, and we'll show you them numbers against, obviously, ZXi-7 and ZXi-R HL. If you've enjoyed the video, guys, hit the subscribe button and we'll see you in a few days' time. Thanks, Dan. Bye.